Hey, beautiful people. I just wanted to kick that song off really, really quick. It's called More, featuring Joe Barnes and Laura Scott, Forest City Worship. Amazing, amazing, amazing worship team. I'm a huge, huge fan of Joe and his ministry, and it's just beautiful. Has some amazing, amazing songs. How y'all doing? It has been some time. I feel like every time I get on here, there has been so many different changes, and it's definitely been a transitional season. And now, when I say season, I'm talking about a year for sure. It is a little bit over a year since we have left our known state, Illinois, and we were in temporary assignment in Atlanta, Georgia. I say the Woodstock area, not really an ATL, but you get my drift. And now we are settled down in our promised place, Charlotte, North Carolina. So yeah, a lot of different changes, a lot of different things have taken place, and I just wanted to come in here really quick, not to hold you up, but to kind of just inspire those that are probably in transition, probably praying and asking the Lord to do something, and you're waiting. We have definitely been on a long journey and a long road of waiting. For sure. There's a lot that takes place during your waiting. And one of the things that we have definitely learned is to continue trusting the Lord. And that's not always easy, if I'm being very honest, especially when you really don't know what that looks like. Oftentimes, trusting God is literally what our faith entails. It's just waiting on the unknown. When we are human and we're walking in our flesh, we want to know things. We want to figure everything out. I am an expertise as planning. So me being a planner, this has been a definitely challenging season where I had to just sit back and say, Lord, I surrender, and I'm going to follow your will and submit to it completely. Now, if I'm being completely honest, part of submission seems like the easy part, but I want to say the hardest part is letting go. Letting go the familiar things, whether it's, the world that you created. It could be your job, your career. It can be the city that you live in, the endeavors that you're in, hobbies, all of those things that you've created, build. And not saying they were wrong or bad things, but there are seasons where God is trying to take you to glory, and a lot of times people don't get a chance to go to glory. It's out of fear, being stubborn, being highly influenced, not having the right people in their lives to continue to encourage them, to enhance and build them up and strengthen them in their faith. It can be a variety of things. And me, I just kind of got to that point where I was like, Lord, in spite of what I may feel in a moment, because let's be honest, feelings do change. They waver. They're like this. One minute you're feeling this way, one minute you're feeling that way. So you can't always trust your feelings, but it's all about the knowing. If you really take time to spend time building that relationship with the Lord, you will get to know his character. You get to know who he is, and you'll get to know that his word is true, his promises are true, and his plan that he has for you is even realer. So on this journey of the unknown, as I call it, the Lord revealed a lot of things to me. But I will say I wrestle with looking at the former things. I wrestle with the things that I really enjoyed at one point in my life. The community that I had, the relationships that I built, just the ins and out of knowing the city, just the comfortability of things. And I'm always brought right back where the Lord is like, I'm doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18 tells us, remember not the former things, nor consider the old things. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Okay, what's the wilderness? What's the desert? What's all of that? Listen, I will not get into all of that in this video. I will chop it down through my next segments of what that looks like. But I do want to just put a highlight on those that the Lord told you to go somewhere. He told you to leave something. Trust and know that what He is doing for you, what He's preparing for you, is beyond what you could ever dream. It's beyond what you could probably even put together. Let's just be real. He is the Lord. He is the main source. He's the creator. He knows what's good, what's best for us. If you're just willing to take a moment and say, Lord, I will trust you, and completely surrender. Now, if I'm being honest, surrendering is not going to look as, okay, Lord, I'm laying all of these things down and, the door opens up just like that. Surrendering is a process because the Lord has to work on your mindset. He has to now mold you in areas that needs to be molded. He has to now pluck things out that needs to be pulled out. There is a process when you do surrender. And while He's doing those things, He's also working over here at the same time, laying out a nice, like it says, making a pathway in the wilderness where you see many of trees and maybe even tons of mountains, and you're trying to figure out how I'm going to get through this, get past it, get over it, get around it. He is making a way. And super, super excited to share with you guys the journey that me and my family, my children, we have been on this past year, and what God has taught us, and what He's still revealing to us. But my biggest struggle was looking back at times as the Lord was doing things and actually just making me feel uncomfortable, to be honest. I was missing the life that I had built and the things that was, familiar to me. And I had to really pray. There was a process of the purging that wasn't pretty. There was a process of Him developing me that didn't feel good. And as I continue looking at the past, how can the Lord really work on the future if I'm not willing to let go? And so my encouragement to you is that it is okay. It will be okay. Cling to Him. There may be a season where the Lord may set you apart. And that's just the reality. He will set us apart from the world, from the things, from the behaviors, from all of the stuff that we may feel is decent, to really reconstruct us and get us to the place where we can really enjoy the fullness of Him. Another thing that I will say too, that when He initially told us that we were going to be leaving the state that we were familiar with, that I was born and raised in, that was slightly hard to I guess, take on, just because I have family, my parents, long friendships and relationships that I have been in, and I knew that I could just take a nice little drive and go see them. I knew that now that was going to be different. So if I'm being honest, yes, naturally, I'm thinking of those things, and I'm thinking of, I'm not going to be as reach touch, anymore. I'm not going to be that close anymore. So now what does that look like for my relationships? And that's another thing that I think that I wrestle with. And at the same time, because I was growing in my relationship with Him, and so when you're growing in your relationship with the Lord, one of the things that happens sometimes quickly, you kind of become more fearless and less afraid of change and going in, in a different direction, because ultimately that's what that is. When you decide to give your life to the Lord and devote yourself and your time to him, make him Lord over your life, there will be a shift. There will be a change from what you had considered normal. It's now going to be completely different from what you've always known it to be. And so, yes, although I was thinking of those important factors, still a part of me in my development with him also was like, I can do this. And I want more for myself. I want more for my family. I desire all of these different things. And guess what? That is going to require me to step out. It's going to require me to not walk in fear. It's going to require me to, just be brave. Just allow him to continue speaking and ministering to me in spite of. And what does that consist of? Staying in my word, spending that time with him regularly, not weekly, not monthly, but every day. If that's a few times a day, whatever it takes, so you can start building that security that's needed to make a big step, to make a big move. Asking him to remove those things and those tendencies that may, be streamed from generation. Not seeing those things happen in your family, and maybe you're the first one that has to step out. Just knowing all of that it's okay. Evidently, the Lord chose you for such a time as this. And so just changing your mindset, it's a process. It takes time. But also, sometimes the Lord is requiring of you to do bigger things. Sometimes the Lord is waiting on you to make the next move. And just see if you're really going to trust him, if you're really going to allow him to move in your life. And so, hearing the words and hearing him through the years of that it's time to transition and relocate, I probably ignored it for a while, to be honest, just because as being a planner and an organizer, how is that going to look like? What do I need to do as far as career work-wise, family, etc., right? And again, the Lord is saying, will you trust me in spite of all of that, in spite of not knowing everything, and in spite of not having everything in place? Isn't that my job? Isn't that your part of surrendering, is letting go? That means letting go of your will, the way that you've been doing things. And it may seem weird to other people when you may not have a long itinerary of what's next, but it's not weird to the Lord, because his ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts and our ways. And so I want to say that not knowing what's next is sometimes a good thing. I can look at it now in gratitude and be like, that's cool. I don't need to know what's next, because my Creator knows what's next. He knows the beginning and he knows the end. And so because of that, I can rest assured in the comfort of his arms and say, I know you got me, just like, when we go to our parents, when we were children and something maybe happened, whether we fell off a bike, whether we, lost control over a situation, we know we can go to them. Well, the Lord is wanting us to have that same, if not more, intimacy with him and trusting him, knowing that he's got us. What a beautiful, beautiful experience it has been. Like I said, I will be sharing segments moving forward, just touching on the depth of what it took, what it really takes. But I just wanted to put that out there, is that if the Lord is speaking to you about transition, if he's speaking to you about relocating, if he's telling you that you need to just make the move, trust him. Trust that he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And he will not leave you astray, nor will he leave you. So anyway, even if you're feeling Like, I'm not fearless yet. I'm not at that place yet. I'm still wrestling with fear. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. If I'm being honest, I had to do it anyway. Not knowing what's next, feeling still intimidated and timid at times, but I did it anyway, and I would never look back. I I don't regret the experience and the things and the lessons and the molding and the purging and all the things that the Lord had to do to get us where we're here. So, again, I just wanted to share that with you guys as an encouragement. Once you make the move, don't look back. Don't look to the former things, but and nor consider the old things, because the Lord is doing a new thing. And how can He do a new thing if you won't let go? How can He do anything new in your life to prosper you, to develop you, to take you to glory if you're not willing to let go? And oftentimes, it may not just be a place, it can be a relationship. It could be where you're with someone and you're just holding on because it's familiar, it's comfortable, someone that you've known all your life or whatever. But if the Lord is speaking to you about letting go, here is your confirmation that it's time to let go. It's time to move forward, and it's time to take hold of what the Lord has for you. So, be blessed. Be on the lookout for my segments to come. I look forward to sharing more details as it relates to the things that we went through while we were waiting, while we went through the wilderness, how God made a path, and how He made rivers in the desert for us. So you guys stay tuned and be blessed. You know what to do. Don't forget to subscribe.